Just in case.
Recently, all these disconnects, please enter your party's ID followed by the Welcome to the party room. Please enter your passport. At the time, please record your name followed by the pound key.
I'm about to.
Certificate number 2.
Oh. Bien. Actually, we'll start at the end of the fourth line, so we have the introduction to where we go. On page AYIN Dalet.
Lifnei.
Huh?
You start with Lefi.
Lefi Shekolin Hamidas, right?
The fourth line from the bottom.
Oh, we're
Right.
going up there, right.
Lefi, due to the fact Shekol Inyan Hamidas, that the entire phenomenon of Midas, here the word Inyan is a very broad inference. The phenomenon of Midas. Normally Inyan means the purpose. Here it is much broader. What gives birth to Midas? What are they about? Einam boyim, they do not come misoirim, or get awakened, rak alidei hergesh atzmi, except as a result and through the process, to the force of hergesh atzmi, of sensing himself. In other words, this hergesh atzmi is the reaction that reacts to the arousal of the midas. Like I said before, he recognizing that this is good lefonov. So therefore, what's so significant about that? Hergesh atzmi brings it that the midah follows it, and he kind of directs him and forces him to go and follow that which is good for him of the fonov. If not for the fact that there is a hergesh atzmi, so it may be excellent in his path of life, but it does not arouse him because his path of life does not mean anything to him. It's been hergesh atzmi. Again, as we mentioned, Thursday, Friday, this hergesh atzmi is a divine gift. Meaning to say, the Rebbe himself is assigning to it a phenomenal value. Every individual person is individually created and given a neshamah, and given the divine will to pursue his purpose in life. This is the hergesh atzmi. This is what a human being is on a fundamental, very basic level. One who does not have hergesh atzmi is lacking the whole phenomenon that he was created. Just as in our orientation in the world, we mentioned we had this mashal, and this mashal, what is the difference between observing a field just in the wilderness or observing a house? a building. And we have had a little debate about this. But then we clearly stated that the principle of a building is that it was planned. There was intent, there was effort made to bring it about. This is not something that is there by default. This effort has a definition. What aroused this effort? What brought the person to this action? That's the nakuda of this whole phenomenon. This is called hergesh atzmi. The Rebbe created everything. Please, we did not evolve from monkeys. Every individual person was created as an individual person. This is the implant of the hergesh atzmi.
Why do we bring up a field and a house just now?
To distinguish a field, because a house expresses this principle that there was an intent in it coming to be, rather than just the emptiness. You're very involved in this. And this is the source and the basis for midos. Midos means reacting to a certain circumstance, a positive or a negative reaction. Levad midas atzmim v'tiviyim. Except for midas atzmiyim, midas that are of the essence of the person himself, v'tiviyim, and natural midas, she'einam boyim etan haseichel, which do not come due to seichel, v'lo mitzad hergesh atzmi, nor because of hergesh atzmi, of sensing himself. They are not midas of the reaction level, type, the circumstance. Kiyim, except where there is this, then is the source of this midas. What motivates and activates this midas? Mipnei shezehu atzmo yomahusay. Only due to the fact that this is his essence and this is his reality, mahusay. This is who he is. Atzmo mahusay. The ahava zois, this ahava, that is actually not a reaction to a certain circumstance, but this is who he is. He bechinas rotzoin. This ahava is actually more appropriately called rotzin. It's not ahava. It's not a midah. Lo yahava. This is not really ahava. This is the beginning of rotzin. Okay, now we are finally being exposed to the principle of rotzin. Rotzin is just warning us. It's impossible to understand rotzin, because rotzin does not come as a result of seichel. There's no seichel involvement in the arousals of rotzin or in its presence. Rotzin is an essential entity in the human being per se.
Like hergesh, or it's not the same?
What?
We can't compare hergesh to
So in the hergesh that we're talking about, the hergesh comes as a result of seichel. Hergesh atzmi, he senses his own presence, his own importance, and as a result of that, he reacts to things that are favorable or unfavorable to him. Rotzin is of a different caliber. If we should try to put words into this sentence, this atzmi. Is it a challenge for a human being, or is it a step in his development that he wants to be a human being and not a cat? Is that a stage in his intellectual development? The gap between a cat and a human being is vast. So how did he get to that lofty spot? And he insists, this is what I want. Why? This is what I want. What kind of question is that? As a result of this is what I want, there are all kinds of quote-unquote midos that surface. But these are not midas apiseichel. These are midas that represent him. This essential thing, I want to be a human being. We speak all the time about the halacha that you're not supposed to walk around and eat. Certainly not in the street. Or that a person reichel b'shuk dema lekelev. Reichel b'shuk dema lekelev. That we have to sit that person down and explain to him. This is not the way you're supposed to eat, because this is a seichel element. This is a midah that comes in a sort of seichel, hergesh atzmi. But to crawl down on the floor and eat from the floor, that you don't need to teach him. That you need to teach him. He's just not going to go there. Because this is mitzad rotzim, this is midas atzmi. The definition of what a human being is. It's a fine but very important distinction. Because he is essentially a human being, you're able to teach him and develop his seichel and develop his midas and stand him up on his feet or sitting by a table. Even though you have to teach him, but there is somebody to talk to. He's not crawling on the floor. This is, because of the truth of who he is, this is what's called rotzoin. This rotzoin is not a misnomer. I want something. This is wanting something means that I'm pursuing something. I'm liking it, and I want to fulfill it. This rotzin does not have that scenario, that process. And yet, it's properly called rotzin.
Is it a way of something similar to true and truth?
Yes. Perhaps. It's not going to help if we go there.
No.
Why is it called Rotzoin? I said it's a proper term. Even though it's not really an active pursuit. And the answer is in essence, a living entity. A living entity. Even an animal. A living entity is in constant function, action. Everything that he is in a sense by choice. He wants to be that which he is. The human being wants to be a human being, not because he is coming out of being of something else, but as such he is in an active state. This is why life is in a constant action. You have to breathe all the time, and it's an active state of living. And as we mentioned many times, breathing, which brings that life to us, is not a process of getting away from non-life into life. It is within life itself. There is the action of living. This is why the term Rotzen Lichios, the will to live, is a correct term. In our worldly orientation, this expression sounds to be, I want to live and not die. But that's not what it means. He doesn't know that there's such thing as death. So it's not in a contrast. And yet it's in an active form. He wants to be what he is. Okay. Having said that, I want to take us a step further. How come it's appropriate way to call I want? This is who you are, this is it.
Why is what appropriate? I didn't hear I'm not getting this question.
Why is it a proper way to express it? I want it.
I want what?
Huh?
To live.
To live? Oh.
I want to be a human being.
It's like you are a human being.
I am. What?
Got it.
Where is the want fill in? And he says it's a proper way of expressing it. The answer is, it's a phenomenal thing. That really we do not understand what life is. We do not understand what being a human being is. We are being shown by the Meibershen, this is what a human being is. This is what life is. Constantly being shown so that we want to take it. And we are taking it as a gift, Milmai. So this Rotzen Lichios is really, in essence, expressing our connection to the Meibesh. The Meibesh wants us to live, and we say, yes, we want. Life is a miracle, is a divine miracle. Life is not a worldly concept. There's no way to explain life in worldly terms. Just doesn't exist. All the wise guys with the malpas and all that, there's no way to explain what life is. I once read a whole attempt to explain our life. It was stupidity, mamash, out of this world. Except they were not stupid enough to say that this is a. We still haven't really finalized it. Life is not a worldly phenomenon. Life is a divine presence in the world. And this divine presence is by design, it's not by default. The Eibishter gives life all the time. This is why there's this interaction, there's the rotzin. The minute that daylight comes, we feel beckoned. Everybody knows what beckon means? To come and participate. And if we don't, we feel we're not utilizing what is given to us. This is what the Rebbe says. The midos atzmiyim, which are not aroused to the seichel, this is the category of rotzen. This is the essential, the human being. This is not really a human process. This is a godly gift. Hergesh atzmi, this is very in the seichel level. That allows for midas to develop. Ahava and yira, ahava and sina, whatever it is, all up his seichel. But the essential person that he wants to live, that he wants to be a human being, this is something which he cannot obtain through any process. This is something that was designed and identified by the Creator himself, and it was actually imbued in him by the Creator.
Sorry, yes, one is before. This we say that the Malcolm is Rosani by the Rambam by Hilchos Gittin. Malcolm is Rosani.
Right.
That's also like midas atzmi, yeah.
Right.
You're not you're just hitting him, but it's bringing out. But so it's not what's the name.
The Rambam, that's right. The Rambam says. So can you quote the whole thing? Be my guest.
Well, what?
So what does the Rambam explain about this?
The person doesn't want to give the get, so you let it hit him. I want. So the process is not. You're not explaining to him. You should do God's will, the right thing. You're simply taking away that which is by Michael said by hitting him. You're taking that which is hiding the.
No, but
the
you're not bringing that. The Rambam explains.
It's more. Every person wants to do.
Go ahead, no.
Innately, every person wants to do what's right. Basically, he says.
But the Rebbe wants it. That's the important thing.
Yeah,
because
the
otherwise,
wants,
it's a get ma'usa.
Right.
A get has to be by his free will.
Right.
If it's not by free will, it's not a yes.
Every person wants to.
So Maki may say because when he says Reitzani, he really wants, because every Yid innately wants to do what the Rebbe wants him to do. See, if the Bezin says you're supposed to give him a get, he really wants to give a get to Yitzri also. He's fighting against his own Yitzri if he refuses.
What did you mean
What?
when you said that Hashem is constantly showing us that this is what it is to be a human? Is that the beckoning that you're talking about?
No. This is this is an active element in us. That yes, we are human beings and we want to be human beings.
That's the showing. Hashem showing.
What? No.
Oh.
No, doesn't. This is the rotzin. This is not the rotzin. Is not by being shown.
You used that word before, so.
We did. We said because Hashem is constantly showing it to us, therefore we're trying to connect to that.
No, that okay. Mustn't put everything in the same line. I explained why is it appropriate to call it rotzin. So even though it's immediate, appropriate to call it rotzin because there is also a background and element in this, that this is really what comes to us from the Meibushin. But it's there all the time. It's the Meibushin's presence in us. It isn't that we want something that's outside. We want that which we have, that which we are, and we have it. And yet it's appropriate to call it rotzin. Why rotzin? Because it's not part of the worldly orientation. It's something in the world all the time of a higher quality.
Rabbi Paltiel? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
This that you said just now, that this is, I don't know exactly the word you use, this is the Eibishter within us. What is the distinction then between Ratzin and Nefesh, the neshamah itself, or it is there none?
There is no different distinction, except Ratzin is a conscience, is an active thing. The neshamah does not involve us at all. Whereas Ratzin is our personal experience. And
Okay.
it even has midas coming along with it. All right. Okay. This is about it. Yeah.
Before you go on, can I ask one more question?
One more. Yes, go ahead.
So we're clearly saying that midas is dependent on hergesh atzmi. Without hergesh atzmi, you don't have midas. We say the same thing about seichel, or seichel is what actually gives him hergesh atzmi.
Seichel is the underpinning of Seichel, the power behind Seichel is Ratzin. And it's not.
Where is hergesh atzmi there? I'm sorry.
Hergesh Atzmi is the next step. Hergesh Atzmi is from Midas. As we said
And
many times.
Seichel
We
is-
said, one second, we said many times. Seichel is not compelling. It's not compelling. Meaning, I understand, yes, it's good. So what? Let it stay where it is and I'll stay where I am. Midas is what it's compelling. If it's good, I must go there. You see, that I must go there is a completely different phenomenon that, yeah, I agree, it's a good thing. Seichel is
But
not.
what is it that creates the places within the hergesh atzmi?
Hergesh Atzmi is the sense that there's a reality, it's called me. And this reality, it's called me, wants that which is good for it.
This is an automatic thing, or this is something which develops?
Explain to me your question. What does that mean?
I'm sorry.
It is a direct effect of Hergesh Atzmi. Because this thing is good for him, so he wants it.
That's not my question.
What is your question?
My question is, where does he get this hergesh atzmi self?
Oh. All right, that we'll have to talk about.
To remain on this call, press 1.
What happened?
He got disconnected.
Ah,
Okay, I have a quick question.
yeah.
Just a little, like a counter example, little sad reality, but it's a counter example about.
Welcome to IDT Connect. Please enter your conference ID followed by the pound key. Welcome to the
Golan Benoni's.
conference room. Please enter your password. At the tone, please record your name followed by the thank you. You are now in conference
Thank you.
for participant number 1.
Okay. Get it. Oh, yeah.
He's calling now.
Ah. Yes. All right. Bon.
It's like the idea of a counter example that exists of a counter example I want to live. I'm thinking of the reality of people who are suffering so much that
You have to leave it for tomorrow.
they don't want to live. They don't want to live anymore.
Okay. Right.
1 second. No, 1 second.
There's no way we can take. We have to prepare for that. Okay. You won't forget your question. Who is this?
Bush.
Bush. I'm sorry. We reached the limit of our time. Okay. As far as we have a couple of outstanding questions. Exactly when that is going to be, I cannot say. It's either going to be tomorrow morning. I doubt it, or next Tuesday after that. But the questions are valid questions. Where does hergesh atzmi come from? And what happens to a person who's so despondent, who doesn't want to live anymore? What happens? A person who is so depressed that he doesn't have the rotzim to live. What happened, Rahman Islam? How is that possible?